Evening, everybody. It's 5:35, and it is time for your closing comment. It is video number 1197 for this Monday afternoon, uh, March 21st. Okay, so no more information about the plane, the Boeing plane that got flown into the side of a mountain. Um, I'm not really going to comment on it yet, but I will say the stock this morning was substantially lower. It was down about 8%. Then by the time it opened, it was down about $12 or 6%. And while it didn't go positive, it closed at 185.90, down 693 or just 3.6%. So it came back. Most of the morning, it actually represented almost the entire loss in the Dow. But then the Dow, on Powell's comments, very hawkish comments, I might add, that, if we need to raise 50 basis points, then that's what we'll do, was not taken particularly well. And the market sold off hard, with the Dow being down more than 410, but closing down less than half that, but still down on the day, down 202, essentially 0.58%. Nasdaq down 55. S&P down $1.94. The Russell, the big loser, down 2021 or 0.97, followed closely by the Dow Jones Transports down 126.16 or 0.75%. One of the biggest problems is interest rates. The 10-year was substantially higher last week. I know I mentioned that this morning. The 10-year last week closed 214, up 14 basis points. Today closed 232, up another 17 point something basis points. And what's worse is the extreme flattening of the yield curve. The twos, the threes, the fives, the sevens, the tens, all pretty much in the same place. And that, I think, is a function of expectations of the short end going through more rises than was originally expected. As I mentioned this morning, also, Nielsen uh, rejected a bid, and the stock was down as low as 2043. The bid, I think, was the original bid was 25 or so, $9 billion. And the stock opened was trading at 20, down 443. Actually gained a little bit from there, but still closed down 22.60, down $1.84 or 7.53%. No clear vision on whether somebody else comes in or Elliott Management bids higher. Valon. I mentioned this one this morning too. They had a failed treatment protocol, a new drug for ADHD. And this morning it was sharply lower, but actually came a little bit off the low, but did close down a chunk. Closed 229. It actually had traded below $2. Traded 229, down 515 or 70% on that failure. Nike beat both top and bottom line. The stock had closed at 130.19, down $1.05. After the earnings came, as I said, beat top and bottom. Stock traded up to 139. The last is 137.81, up $6.66, or 5%. So a nice rally there. Nike has gone direct to consumer a bit, but nonetheless, the stock is way down from where it has traded. I also want to mention Coinstar, not because I have any particular bent for or against it. I have a Coinstar account. I've used it. I've traded, and it's easy to use and seems to be somewhat above board, so I don't worry about having to need a separate wallet, etc. Jim Chanos, on the other hand, came out and initiated it as a short. um, Chanos does some very good work. He's usually not wrong. Um, and, just to make mention of one of the issues, the stock, by the way, closed 177 and a half, down $8 and change after trading 171. Um, but I heard somebody talking about valuation and talking about how cheap the stock is. And it just hit me as, you know, part of the biggest piece of the problem in this market, which, the war isn't what's hurting this market. We had many problems before that. The war was just kind of the catalyst that brought everybody's attention, as Dennis, our futures trader, has said to me in the past. you know, when you get into a bear market, anything and everything that can go wrong does. And so we've seen a big decline. And frankly, Coinstar is, you know, Coinbase, I'm sorry, Coinstar are the people that charge you 9% to process your change in the supermarket. Anyway, so Coinbase. Um, and so somebody was talking about the valuation this afternoon, and this is just a symptom of the problem. They were talking about how the stock is down to only, I say, only 5 times sales. And, you know, Bitcoin hasn't gotten hurt as badly as Coinbase, and in fact has had a little rally while Coinbase has not. But this woman was talking about the valuation, and her firm has a target price of $600 for this year. And her comment, ludicrous as I think it is, I'll share it with you. Well, even if it gets to our target of 600, it'll still only be 11 times sales. No mention of profit, no mention of margins, no mention of anything but 11 times sales with the word only in front of it. And that, I think, is ludicrous. Okay, the chart on the screen here is oil. And as I said, I thought it would be in the 95 area. It did get a little lower than that, but it also has been riding. This is the daily riding just below this 50-day moving average, and it turned right off that 95. It did trade down to 93 and change, but the low close 93.59. So pretty close considering I said it when it was 115. But we started right back up. We had a strong day on Thursday. We had a not very impressive day on Friday. But today we closed 109.97, and that was up almost $7. It has turned the 5-day back up, so we had a break to the downside when we crossed the 5 crosses the 20. That was 2 days ago. And really, from that point on, we started right back up. So I think that energy is pretty much a major issue. We also had the gold which Dennis, I know, was looking at 1900. We got down to 1917 this morning. We traded as high as 1941, and we closed pretty basically in almost exactly in the middle. $12 from the high, $12 from the low, and up 20 cents on the day. The other two that we actually have positions in are the corn, which had a great day today and I think is set up to really explode out of here. I want to show you what the weekly looks like because I think that's even more impressive. Look at this pennant. And the high close was 762 and a half. We traded 765 today and closed 756 and a quarter, up 14 and change. If we come through here, we break this high of 767, I believe we're going to see new highs. We are in the corn ETF, the symbol for which is CORN. We're in the 27s. We paid $1.10. I think they closed today around $1.24. So not overwhelming, but I think pretty solid. So I'm pleased with that. The other one that we have a position in, I was a little less pleased with this morning, and that is the nat gas. And actually, we don't have a position in it. I was going to buy it on Friday, and I kept on watching it the couple of times between when it opened and when I woke up in the middle of the night and looked at it, and it was up, and it was up, and it was up. And then by the open in when the market opened, it was actually down. We only got down a little bit, and again, this is a weekly. And so, we are having this consolidation above the pullback low. I mean, remember, this went from $1.62 to $6.50. Came back down right into the support. We played it right here, bought it in here, sold it in here. Towards the highs, right in the middle of this range from that week, and made great money in it. Slightly lower highs, slightly higher lows coming into this pennant, and we will have to see how this looks, except that by the end of the day today, after being down all day, the last couple of hours took it from, and this down is only back to the top of this last consolidation. The low for the day was 474.80. We closed 490. So we closed 7 from the high. And, pardon me, we closed, 7 from the high and 16 from the low. So 2/3, 3/4 up on the range. I think if we can break the high here, which is $5.001, so really $5, that we'll try this 518, 520, and if we break through there, I think 535, 540 is in the books. So there you go, folks. All right. Rest of the markets, Bitcoin down 875, nothing overwhelming there. The dollar was up 27 cents. The one that really got pounded today, as I mentioned in my opening, were the bonds. Bonds were down dramatically today and all the way across the curve. But the 30-year was the most extreme. It was down almost $3. And to give you a little bit better context on this one, we have consistently made lower highs since the blow-off top back in March of 2020. Lower high, break, lower high, break, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high 2 weeks ago. And now we're breaking through this 150 area, which was the last important consolidation before, the huge run up, pull back to the point of breakout, and the blow off move. I mean, this may not seem like very much to you, but this is a move from 155 to 191. And that's a move that in the past might have taken a decade to do, and we did it in 10 weeks. So, but we are getting into support again in this 145 to 147 and a half, 148 area. So we'll have to see if we get a bounce there. All right, everyone. I'll be back first thing in the morning. Have a good evening. Hope you all had a good day.